Welcome back to the Roll for Crit podcast, the official podcast for rollforcrit.com. Watch, shop, play. I'm Jonathan Estes.
And I'm Will Keeler, and as you can see, we are back on our set after our long and adventurous trip to Gen Con 50.
Adventurous, trying. It was sort of like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, except in a van.
That's right. Which is really the same thing when you're going to get right down to it. Did you see that eclipse the other day?
I don't have glasses, so I mean, I saw it. I didn't look at the sun, so.
In my opinion, it took too long and the setup was difficult. That was a joke about
I know, I don't think it's worth the badumch.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, I forgot about it. But at any rate, we were at Gen Con, and if you haven't seen our channel, we have lots of videos with not only impressions, but some cool stuff that we bought, and some interviews with people we got to talk to while we were there. Really cool stuff. Definitely go and look past all that. This is our wrap-up episode, so this is where we're going to be talking about all the stuff that didn't fit into any one of those boxes, necessarily. Or maybe it was just a smaller thing that we didn't see. But actually, the place I want to start is there were a few news items, sort of announcements that came out during Gen Con that we were just so busy we didn't really get to see. One of them, I don't know if you saw this, it was on the floor, not to play, but they had a little box of it. CMON announced a kick-ass miniatures game.
Yes.
Based on the comic.
I believe you took a picture of that.
I did. It's on our Instagram if you're following that. And it's we don't know much about it, but it's not going to be on Kickstarter, which is kind of a missed opportunity because they could have done Kick-Ass Starter or something. But that's going to be a fully cooperative game.
Yeah. And speaking of properties being made into games that we know little about, also that we saw that the same company, I forget, blanking totally on the name of the game that they already have on Kickstarter, had on Kickstarter, but a District 9 game.
Right. Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. That was a very crazy announcement.
I think Weta Workshop, is the company.
Well, Weta Workshop is the company that does the actual special effects behind it. So I don't know if they're actually doing the game.
Yeah, because they did. I know they did the last one because I backed the game,
so
the robot one. I remember I was really confused because when I got an email from them, I'm like, why am I getting an email from these guys?
That's really cool. No, I love that movie. I mean, we both do. So that was a really interesting one. What else? The Steamforged announced the Resident Evil 2 board game. The people who did Dark Souls, like another one we know nothing about, but that's very interesting. I guess Dark Souls was a hit for them, so they're going off in the mature board game line.
Definitely a hit.
Yeah, I don't think you've played a little of the demo, but I don't think you actually got to play our copy yet, or
no, not yet. We're behind in everything.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things, but
I think we'll enjoy it. We just need to sit down.
Yeah, for sure.
Not in front of a camera like now.
Plaid had also announced this game that I had no idea. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was actually, they were demoing it at their booth, called Stuffed Fables.
That I did not hear about.
It's from the creator of Mice and Mystics, and it's just like that, kind of a storytelling board game, but it uses a lot of dice, and the theme is that it involves stuffed animals instead of mice.
I swear to God, I've seen that becoming a big trend. I've seen like 2 or 3 Kickstarters that you are the stuffed animal protecting your child from the darkness.
That's the next Zombies, I think. That's the new Cthulhu. And then there is one more thing that I saved for the end because I just happened upon it, and I'm pretty sure you did not hear about it because you would have said something to me. But they did announce what next year's legendary set is going to be.
Did they finally
Upper
promise
Deck.
me?
It is not what you want it to be. It is not Transformers. It is based on a very popular 90s television show that could stand right alongside Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
In terms of what you like?
In terms of what I like, and in terms of pop culture in general. No, it's a live-action show.
Live action.
It's had a bit of a resurgence very recently.
Full House.
That's close.
Sorry, Fuller House.
Should I give it away?
Yeah, just go ahead.
It's the X-Files, and it's going to be an Encounters game. But that's all we know so far.
I mean, that for an encounter definitely makes, I think, perfect sense for an Encounters game. Just because I didn't get Transformers doesn't mean I think this is bad. Honestly, Transformers, I understand why, even if they tried, it'd be difficult because we want the movie version, and obviously everyone doesn't want the movie version.
I think licensing is probably the biggest hurdle on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
X-Files is cool, though. I would love if there's since it's cooperative, you could just have 2 people and be Mulder and Scully. That's cool. So that makes sense for the encounters. I guess they're doing every other year an encounters and then a regular.
I think that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Because it gives because there always will be little Marvel packs, and like we think there should actually be a small Buffy pack. Like you can be like that way it's like the big set is an encounters and then a bunch of small sets for regular. Then the big set is a regular, or I guess regular is what you call it, or whatever. And maybe a small expansion for encounters.
Yeah.
So I actually think that is the smart move on their part.
So that's cool, something to look forward to. Whether they do a X-Files booth next year or Shark Island again or something like that.
Now, if it was an X-Files booth, what would you think it should be?
I honestly have no idea. FBI headquarters?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I can't think of
a creepy farm with a crime scene.
Because I get
an
maybe
alien
spaceship would be the best, but
yeah. Well, so anyway, that's all the stuff that was announced. Let's talk about some of the stuff we got to actually see. We did Trade Day once again this year, and you got to go to the Paizo conference. Was there anything cool they talked about there?
Well, the big thing was Starfinder, and I mean most of it we already knew. It showed off some of the really cool products. The Alien Codex, which is pretty much the monster manual / player race guide, is to come out is slated for October. However, they released there's a free PDF online. I think it's called First Contact, where it has like I think a few races. So if you get the core book now and stuff, you can play it at least. Cool. And of course some pawns. The your GM thing, a sheet for both space battle and ground battle. I mean, I'm very excited for Starfinder. A lot of people are, partly because it's just starting, so you can get on the ground floor. Yeah, that's one that I hope to try. It'll be interesting if we end up playing Starfinder before Pathfinder to see. Well, honestly, I plan to because because it just because mechanic-wise, I still think they share a lot, so it'd actually be easy for us to start Starfinder. So if we do go into Pathfinder, we're like, all right, we already know half the rules. That's for sure. That's true. So that's another big thing for you if you want to get into an RPG. This is a great one to start with. First of all, it's really cool. We've already, if you heard it before, the monster manual, what it is one page. A lot of the species, not all of them, I think they said a third, it could be more, will be playable. And of course not all of them, because there are space whales, they said, but you can't be a space whale. You can in my modified campaign. But also, if you haven't played any, this might be able to give you enough knowledge to jump into the Pathfinder if you eventually want to. Cool, yeah, and that's out right now, so you can check that out even if you weren't at Gen Con. While you were doing that, I went over to the Renegade Games, had a little bit of a conference. They had some really cool stuff. They announced Clank in Space, which I know Clank is really popular. They also had a game called Ex Libris, which we didn't get a chance to play, but I've heard really great things about it from people who played it at the show. It's sort of this, you're all librarians, but there's sort of mystical, magical element to it. You're trying to get the best, rarest books and stuff for your library. Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System? Yeah, it's basically exactly like that. So they had some cool, a lot of cool. All their games are really cool. We talked about a bunch of them in the preview as well, though. And then we both went to the AEG one. Right, and they had a lot of announcements. Whole bunch of announcements that were very cool. Edge of Darkness we already did. We did a video on, so you can see us talk about that elsewhere. But they also had some brand new games such as Lost in Atlantis, which was an Atlantis-themed game. Except the board can be as small as this table to your entire living room or something, they said. Yeah, some kind of weird gimmick thing there. They announced this game called Sakura Arms, which is cool. It's part of their Big in Japan line. Yeah, apparently actually is really big in Japan and has all these tournaments. Was that the Bakafire I believe was the developer for that one, so that's pretty cool. And then the new Smash Up set, actually they technically, well there's two. There's one currently voting I think right now. Right. I should check up on it. It might have been finished by the time this airs. And which is another one of those it's your fault again kind of deal. I forget. I think Oops we did again. Oops, we did again. Yeah. Last I checked, we were excited because last I checked, we saw Cowboys. Vikings were still in the running with Lumberjacks, like all the things we wanted. Yeah, which was fun. But in addition to that, they have another one, which is already made sets. That 70s expansion. Which comes with Kung Fu Fighters, Disco Dancers. I just realized Danny's going to have a hard time choosing between robots and disco dancers.
He can put them both together.
Well, no, because he's gonna want the Starfleet guys.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Our friend Danny.
What were the other two? Oh, Rebels, I think it was, or something like that.
Vigilantes. That's what it was.
And the last one, I'm totally blanking.
Vigilantes. I don't know.
Right.
I'll look it up and we'll put it on the screen. You'll be able to see it. 70s themed things.
Right.
Yeah. So that was cool. I wonder. Now are we going to get?
Truck drivers.
Truck drivers. There you go. I knew we'd pull through.
Yeah, because the truck drivers move around and bring things with them. The vigilantes are hard to get rid of, I think they said. Discos can dance to any groove, so they have like a mixture of everybody's abilities. And I believe the Kung Fu, they said, charged up. And then
Right, they build power over time.
And they have a lot of fun cards. Like, I know my favorite one I saw was the location, Funky Town.
Right. Do you think we're going to get every decade now? Is there going to be an 80s expansion, a 90s expansion, 60s, 50s, 20s?
As long as the 90s expansion, one expansion is literally just that white and like blue with the purple line, like all the cups used to have it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what that's called.
And then the other one has to be I forget the woman who had all the artwork on everything. It was like the doll.
Lisa Frank.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
But they actually need to get.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some good stuff. Boy bands could easily probably be one. All right. Well, anyway, so that was that. And then then the other big thing that I want to talk about from AEG was this Dice Tower game. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a final title, but they were calling it the Dice Tower. Pretty sure they're going to change that because it's not related to the YouTube series. But it's a giant dice tower with crazy models in the front, like it looks like a spooky dungeon of magic and wizardry, and you all have different colors of dice and you're competing to get them out, and once you get them out you want them to land on the highest number possible, but there are actually traps and things inside of the tower, so your dice might get stuck in there like it's in a big dungeon.
But before you throw them in, everyone's going to bet who has the highest. So not only are you looking at, Jonathan's putting in a D20 or something, might be likely to win, but you might know, like, well, 3 of my dice are stuck in there. They may come out later because people hit dice, so I might be actually the winner. And, of course, there's the no dice will show up bet.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, this was honestly maybe the coolest looking thing I thought that they showed off that day. And one of the only times I've ever heard a group of people applaud for a game mechanic when they talked about the traps. People just clapped. People really liked it, and I think they said they're going to have a box that just shows the whole tower in a clear plastic. So I think this is going to be really popular.
They also said there would be some. They're going to make expansions and hopefully look into making it so it could be a literal dice tower.
Right.
Because it captures dice, so you can't actually use it for your role playing. Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would. If you could, it would just be the coolest looking thing ever.
What I was already saying to you before, after we saw it, was even if they eventually release that and not right away, you're getting a cool looking thing. But in addition to that, you're getting 4 different colors of full sets of dice. So if you're role playing, you're pretty much getting everyone a set of dice to mess around with.
No, it's pretty cool. So even if the game turns out to not be that great, you're probably getting your money's worth if you can use that for other stuff, which is nice. So that was all the cool stuff that we saw. We also got to see.
Yeah. There was also, we forgot to mention, the
Mystic Vale expansion?
Mystic Vale box, big
box. Oh, that's right. They had a big box that's going to hold all the expansions.
And it adds 2 more players.
Do you know if either of the other Mystic Vale expansions that came out added extra players already? Or
I don't think so.
So it goes from 4 to 6. That's pretty interesting. That'll be cool to see. I'm surprised that it doesn't actually, because there was a lot of space even in the original Mystic Vale box, but I guess they just are planning on adding more.
3 small expansions at this point now.
Yeah.
And you probably can sort them better in case of their modules. We haven't read up on the expansion, so.
Yeah. So in terms of kind of panels, conference types things, we also got to see Portal 1, sort of a Portal keynote where Ignacy talked about their plans. That was really interesting, and we got to I picked up what's called First Martians, as well as the 2nd edition of Robinson Crusoe. They also had Alien Artifacts, which we have another video on. You can check out our impressions of that. But that was a really fun.
Yeah, he's very down to earth, really cool. I mean, he's very blunt, but in a good way. He talked about, which I'm very excited for, because definitely up there with one of my favorite kinds of games. But his Sherlock Holmes consulting detective kind of thing, but it's modern day. You actually have to go on a website and stuff. So
right,
I'm really excited.
It's a game called Detective. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, it's storytelling cooperative game where we've actually talked about it on the show before, but it sounds so much fun.
Right.
I'm really excited to see that.
And I really did love one thing when someone brought up like, well, I played Consulting Detective, but I went, one of the problems is once I played, I'm done. And he's just like, well, you guys opened the door for us to that, the time stories and everything. So
yeah, very interesting talking about just the industry and the trends it's headed in terms of games you only play once.
Well, what was interesting also was how we talked after the whole thing. We talked about really the idea of the one-time play and how there's almost like two different versions.
Right. You mean the kind that's literally unplayable once it's finished, and the kind that you just already know the puzzle solving.
Right.
Interesting. I think we've talked about that before too, so we won't go into too much now, but maybe another podcast. So that was cool. The Portal had really cool stuff. All right, so now we're gonna get to some of the stuff that we actually got to play on the floor, or at least see and look at. Even before things we just bought, there were a few like. I got to check out this game called You Mad Bro, from Tuesday Night Games, the guys who did Two Rooms and a Boom, which was interesting. It's sort of a blackjack style game with the theme is a cross between Jersey Shore and Cthulhu. Very simple, very fast paced. You are being dealt a card, and if you get the You Mad Bro card, you're out. Otherwise, you're trying to get more tentacles than everyone else. So it's a risk reward. Should I hit or should I stay? Super simple. A lot of people would probably hate this game, but it's a filler game.
It makes sense in the matchup. Both of them drive people mad.
Yeah, exactly. But ultimately, I thought it was pretty fun for the style of game that it was going for. There was also I got to check out but not play the Scott Pilgrim game that was on display. That seemed kind of fun. We both got to see from Everything Epic.
Yes.
A couple big new titles. This thing that you've got right here.
Right.
We'll
start with their newest announcement.
That's right.
Rambo, and they give these fun little headbands. Because I'll put it on backwards again.
Which is going to incorporate elements from multiple movies he was talking about, maybe even stuff. He made
he said younger and possibly old man Rambo.
And that seemed really cool. It's a miniatures game. They have all the characters from the movies, and it had some really cool stealth aspects.
Yeah, to it. And it looked really. It reminded me of how when people, or at least from my experience playing Metal Gear, how some people will go. I'm a stealth guy. Completely. Don't make a single alert. Meanwhile, my brother's like, okay, I got an AK-47, I can kill everything now.
Yeah, so a little bit of that mix and match of play styles there. Then they had the Big Trouble in Little China game, which we didn't try, but looked really impressive from the
And
board.
in addition, they had some of the stuff for their newest Kickstarter that I think I'm not sure if it ended already or not.
Metal Dawn.
Yeah, no.
Oh no,
that was
previous. Oh, you're talking about the other one,
the Secret Lost Station.
Right, the one that's Secrets of the Lost Tomb, but in space.
Yeah, and they are connected. Do you recall the Blue Pharaoh from the Tomb?
I don't, but refresh me.
Blue Pharaoh. There was one of the snares, the Pharaoh with blue eyes.
Speed.
He's in this. It's like you send. Apparently, I think it might look like we're sending him in a time machine back to Earth like that. So it's sort of like all this crazy stuff, how it's all connected.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. I got to see a little bit. I got a little bit of an overview for the game Bemused, which was this it's sort of a social deduction game, but I mean, you do have hidden roles, but then they can become revealed. You're all muses for painters. What I thought was interesting about it was you actually have a relationship to other players, so it will tell you there's like two separate cards. Like you have to worry about this player, and in addition, you might want them to win, you might want them to lose, or you might want them to survive but not have this many points. So I like that it added an incentive for you to actually start to negotiate right out of the bat. Even we always talk about some games where you're kind of like at the start when you don't have any information, it's hard to break the ice, so to speak, in that regard. So that looked cool. Bemused. How about let's talk about some of the stuff that we actually got to buy and pick up, maybe didn't get into yet. I know you had some cool ones like Magic Maze.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the nominees. And so I was like, when I saw him, like, yeah, I probably want to pick it up because I know both of us were like, that sounded really fun.
Yeah, definitely really excited to see that. They had tons of King Dominoes there. And El Dorado, I'm not sure if it was for sale, but it was...
I saw some people carrying it, but I think I walked by the booth and I didn't see any, so...
Yeah,
but yeah, if you didn't look, also going back to our Instagram, we put up some photos of us as
right.
kings.
Oh yeah. It's on our. It's all on our Gen Con page as well.
So check that out.
You can find those fun pages. The game Apocrypha.
Yeah.
From Lone Shark.
Yeah, I picked it up. This was probably, in terms of the new games I picked up, this is one I was really excited about because it just sounded so interesting.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to actually give it a shot.
The art and theme and stuff look really, really cool. You also, I know, got the King of New York promo as well as...
Well, I got the King of New York power-up because I just haven't gotten it yet. And I also got the promo, which is actually based on their artist. Who was there, and it sort of I didn't think about it because I bought the first day because I wasn't sure if they were going to run out or not. Like I probably should have held on to it because then when she came, I could have got it signed.
Right.
But you know, c'est la vie.
Yeah. Oh well. I know I got that 3 Secrets game that we were talking about with the deduction and the app. That was one of the things I noticed about this convention. I said I downloaded 3 new apps.
You did.
Because I picked up Werewords and 3 Secrets plus First Martians.
Yep.
So I can definitely see that's becoming much more of a thing these days.
The train's moving.
It is moving. That's a Question and Codenames Duet from CG.
I'm really excited to play That's a Question with you.
Yeah.
By the way, this is in addition to, because we already, they're either up already or going to be up.
They're up.
Videos like we got all of the legendary and cryptozoic stuff.
Right, of course.
You got Total Recall too.
Total Recall, the cryptozoic game, another deduction game that I'm interested to try.
Older, but it's one that we haven't gotten our hands on. So
there's also the Terraforming Mars expansion that we happened to pick up and haven't tried.
Right.
But of course, that's a great game, and we're excited to check that out too.
We also got the new AG card crafting game.
Right, that's right, Custom Heroes.
Yeah, that looks a lot of fun. I really liked it since you can just see everyone's hands and then put different things in there.
Yeah, no, that is a very nice touch, whereas, Mystic Veil was just slots. This actually affects the artwork in a way, which is neat. Anything else that you can think of that we bought or played that we haven't mentioned yet? I think we covered pretty much everything.
The problem is there's so much. So
I know. If it comes to you, well, that's go.
We stopped by that one booth, that Kaiju game, which I'm totally the black and white one.
Right, it wasn't Kaiju Crush, which is from Fireside.
Which is literally behind. We turned and saw it.
Maybe it was Kaiju Wars or something like that. That looked pretty cool. From a distance, it looked pretty cool. Well, that would bring us to our next category, which is things that we didn't get to try, which is our sad category. The Thing game. We tried to wait around for it. I've heard good things, but we just didn't get a chance to play it.
You heard good things?
I heard good things. Actually, one of the things I did hear that is interesting, is weird, is that you don't actually infect people in it. In each round, you get cards, and there's a chance you'll become infected, which is a little different from what I would have expected. But some people said it was also pretty fun, so that's something I'm looking forward to still.
There was that the window game. Remember, we actually walked by, but we didn't actually get to play it, unfortunately.
Right.
And buy it because it sold out like that.
Yeah, the stained glass window building game, which looks really, really fun and very striking.
Yeah, no, design. I know, because I know as soon as I showed it to you, I knew you'd love it just to see, because you like role players, so I know seeing that, in essence, the puzzle aspect of trying to fit all the dice in.
Another one, I just left my head. Arcane Wonders had this game called Viral that I didn't get to try either. It's like a virus area control game, but it was Dice Tower Essential. Yeah. Those are usually good.
Another we stopped by IDW, but we didn't get the chance to play either the Legend of Korra or Centipede. Right,
yeah, and those are both cool. They had a Planet of the Apes unit, but I don't think they actually were demoing that one.
We never saw one when we walked by.
But yeah, those both sounded cool. It continues, sadly. There was Firefly, Browncoats, and Brigands, which it's like totally slipped my mind. I didn't even know it was
No, you like remembered it the last hour.
Literally, we walked past Gale Force 9 because I kept thinking like, I know what they're doing. And then I was like, oh my God, of course, that game is there. I saw them demoing it, looked cool, but didn't get to try that one. There also Dead of Winter, Warring Colonies, sold out very quickly. I probably would have picked it up otherwise, but that's obviously one of the huge ones.
I think Plaid Hat was your white whale.
A little bit, yeah. They really, which we should have known, but they went right out the door.
Because I'm used to people splitting it up over the days.
Right. They had everything only on the first day for in that case. A couple other the new Star Trek RPG. I was tempted to pick up, but it was like, how many RPGs can we possibly play?
Well, yeah, and I didn't get to pick up Starfinder.
Right. So that was a little bit of a, not really a bummer, but they were there and they did look fun. There was a brand new game from Tim Fowers called Now Boarding, which was the airplane game that we didn't have a chance to demo. Unfortunately, we just didn't have time. There's also a game that I didn't even hear about until after I went on Reddit, and this, I want to see what people were saying was the buzz and all that. There's a game called Photosynthesis.
I saw that.
Yeah, from I believe Blue Orange. And it's sort of like you have these 3D trees and you're trying to grow better than everybody else. People said that was one of the best games of the show, so that's one to keep an ear out for when that gets closer to a release. Then in terms of outside of the show floor, one of the highlights for both of us was probably the They Might Be Giants concert.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That was a lot of fun. I hope they start doing that every year. Either They Might Be Giants, or if they get a different kind of nerdy band or something like that, would be really fun.
Only the nerdy bands, though.
Yeah, although They Might Be Giants, they even made jokes while they were there. They know nothing about Gen Con.
Yeah, but the best one, they made one. They're like, the best thing we can come up with is we're so old that we lived in a time when Dragons and Dungeons were their own genre.
That's right, 2 separate genres. So they tried. Their heart was in the right place. We also, and as always, we got to try the new Gen Con beer, which I'm sure will be on our set another day. We had some really cool dragon artwork on it.
Yep.
For Gen Con 50. What do you think? Would you say you have a favorite of show that you're prepared to make that statement? I don't know if I am. I know when you first asked the question on day 1, Edge of Darkness was my answer, and that's still in the running for sure. Edge of Darkness was really cool. Among the other things, Crossfire was a lot of fun. We played so many things that were pretty cool. Civilization I thought was really neat. Civ, the New Dawn, the new Fantasy Flight game.
Honestly,
as well as Star Wars Legion, of course.
I know it's high up there. I have to think. It takes me a while to think about everything. But I will still say the Warehouse 13 game was high up for me. It may be partly because I was so worried about the game being good or not, But I mean, it's if you like Battlestar, you'll like this.
No, that's cool. I mean, that makes me happy. It makes me excited to hear about that. I mean, you can watch our videos and decide which ones you think we sounded the most excited about. Nothing really, no big disappointments other than just the regrets of what we didn't get to see. I also didn't get to check out Restoration games. That was a bit of a bummer.
The other one we didn't really get to check out was, I stopped by the booth to buy things, but I was sort of on the way to meeting up with you, was Yellow's new Cthulhu game. Right, Mountains of Madness.
Well, I saw it from a distance, and it looks much less thematic than I had envisioned.
Right, so but we didn't get to sit down and actually hear what
I will admit I judged a book by its cover and was kind of like, I can wait to hear how that is. And also, this should have been news at the top, but I forgot about it until just now, was Restoration Games announcing their Fireball Island remake.
Yeah, that's
which is, I bet whoever did that Kickstarter for that Yeti game that we talked about a few weeks ago must feel kind of bad because their game didn't get funded and now they're doing the official version of that. But especially because, Fireball Island, as we remarked when we played it, was fun, but clearly kind of a broken game from its time period. So the fact that this is a company that they're going to actually look into those rules and make it playable as a game as well, that's cool. That's neat. So that's a very exciting one to look forward to. Overall, it was a really good show. It was very, very busy. I hope that in the future companies, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be too upset if Fantasy Flight decided to just announce all their games a day before Gen Con. It kind of makes our lives a little harder having to run around all the time to look for these things. But other than that, there was a lot of cool stuff. Maybe nothing. Again, I don't know if we're just getting more and more jaded every year, but it seems like there weren't as many giant titles, or at least not 1 or 2 obvious best of shows to me this year, but maybe other people who were at the show would disagree with that. As we said, it's just hard for us to get to everything because there's so much of it. And it was nice to say hi to, there were a few people came up to us and told us they liked the show. Also getting to see a few of our friends, like from Daily Magic Games and Mystic Ape, who were at the show, which was really nice. I didn't get a chance. I wanted to try and find Zephyr Workshop to do Aegis. They were there demoing. You just can't do everything, but overall, pretty good show.
Yeah.
We had fun.
No, I mean, a lot of fun. A lot to do. I think probably just because usually there's that, like, it will partly to demo, but also buy. I usually think of there still was that. I think the longest line that I can think of was actually, we didn't try this either, but Legend of the Five Rings. That
right, that sold out right away.
I think that might be the game of show in terms of buying out, because there's always a line, but there always is a line of Fantasy Flight.
Yeah, there was nothing.
We're just used to. Problem is, we saw Pandemic Legacy. Like that was the line of lines.
Yeah, and well, last year there was Seafall, and there was Seafall last year?
Yes.
Yeah, and also.
But you can still pre-order it on their site.
And Harry Potter, which was just in madness every day.
And Mysterium.
Yeah, Mysterium. That was
King of Tokyo.
Ago. Yeah. So,
I mean, New York. King of New York.
Right. So.
A long one too.
So I think companies have, in some ways, gotten better about managing expectations.
It could also be that more games are. Everyone else's quality's gone up too, so the lines are more dispersed.
Spread out. Yeah, that's definitely true, which is a cool thing to see. Another thing I'll say about this trip is I think I gained like 10 pounds because we ate terribly. We ate so much fast food, but I don't know what, it's just when you're in a hurry, that's like all you can do. But everything else went smoothly. So if you were at Gen Con or if you watched our videos, please tell us what you thought, what your impressions are, what your questions are.
What was your favorite thing you got there, or the thing that you didn't get?
I know we've had some comments on our other videos so far, so we'll take a look at all that stuff on our next episode, which will maybe in a week, maybe two. Not 100% sure on the schedule for going forward, but just stay tuned and you'll figure it out.
And you can stay tuned by subscribing. There's a little button right down below. Real easy. Just click that.
Super simple, for sure. Or, of course, you can go to rollforcrit.com where we post all our new stuff. Plus, you can buy some games over there. We also have, if you missed anything and you don't feel like looking at our YouTube channel for some reason, you can go to rollforcrit.com/GenCon2017, and that just has everything you need in one place. Very easy to look at.
And, of course, there's all the other places. Roll for Crit, Instagram, @rollforcrit.
Yep.
Facebook.
Twitter.
Inside your newest board game.
Yeah, take a look deep in there. Smell that box.
Well, you have to remove the plastic insert. We're right underneath there.
That's right. It's a little sneaky trick. Until our next convention, or our next podcast, and we're a little more well rested. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Roll for Crit.